Welcome to the channel. I'm Dani Walker, and this is my first recap for the Universal Woman pageant. I'm really excited to bring you this episode. If you enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing and supporting the channel by joining memberships, hitting that super thanks button, or simply sharing the episode with a friend. I greatly appreciate that. I got several requests to recap this episode, and I had to check it out, mainly because many contestants ask me, what are my pageant options aside from Miss Universe or Miss World or any of the big four pageants? And there are some new emerging options, and this is one of them. So the age range for this pageant, first of all, we have to mention is 25 to 45. On their website, they state that Universal Woman is a platform that champions the unique brilliance and beauty of women making a positive impact in the world today. So this is a rather new organization, and one really cool thing is that a huge Miss Universe Venezuela fan favorite, Valentina, she didn't win the Universe Venezuela title, but she did really well. She placed there, and I didn't realize that she represented Venezuela at this pageant, and then she went on to win the international title. No surprise there, okay? She's a great competitor, and so she was their outgoing title holder this year. Additionally, the pageant shared on their website that we are proud to launch Universal Mission, Women United in Philanthropy, making a positive impact in the world for women and children. So there is definitely a philanthropic element of this pageant, and it is quite encouraged. It's not just about beauty. This year, the pageant was held in Cambodia, and there were 40 contestants from all over the world. The staging was very beautiful, especially for a new pageant system, and they showed some great B-roll clips at the beginning of the pageant, and we also got to see some B-roll footage from last year's pageant, which I haven't watched, but they had a revolving stage. I can't remember the last time I've seen a revolving stage. I feel like that they did things like that in the 2000s at Miss Universe. They had really cool staging. I also really liked that at this pageant, for their opening number and introductions, the contestants, because the pageant was in Cambodia, they were wearing Khmer inspired outfits, like a very pageanty glam type of version of a traditional Khmer outfit, and I thought that was a really nice little touch. The other cool thing that I noticed here is that Miss Universe Brazil 2020, who was first runner-up to Andrea Mesa at Miss Universe in 2020, she was the co-host of this show. So I love seeing formers. I thought that was so great that they brought her on. One area of improvement I think that this show can make, and I can understand why this might be happening, especially at the beginning of an organization, I do feel like they should shorten the length of the show. Now, I don't know if this was the actual length in real life, how long the actual live version was, but when I was watching it online, the show was about 3.5 hours, but much of that were just commercials. So that may not have been the case live. They could have put these commercials in post-production because of sponsors, which would make sense. But I don't know how long the actual show is. If any of you watched it live and attended and have more insights about that, please share in the comments. Towards the top of the show, before they announced the semi-finalists, they also gave out some special awards. Now, I don't know if the title holders receive a cash prize for this or any kind of sponsored prize. I don't know if these special awards, if these scores contributed to who makes it in to the finals pageant, like who's recompeting. If you know, please share that in the comments as well. But here's who won those special awards. Universal Woman Model was China. The Photogenic Award winner was Lithuania. The Social Media Award winner was Philippines. The Inspirational Award winner was Colombia. And then the Social Project Award was India. And I'm curious, what is the difference between Inspirational versus Social Project Award? That was interesting because they almost sound like they could be the same thing, like they have to do with service. Now, for the first cut of the show, I thought that the first cut was actually far too big. It was 24 out of 40. That's more than half of the contestants move forward into finals, and it's just a lot. But fortunately, the 24 moved on only for a sportswear portion of the pageant, so this was pretty quick, pretty fast paced. Now, I'm very confused because I don't know what information was given to the contestants, but each of them seemed to be wearing some sort of black bodysuit, and there was some variation in these outfits, but I don't know what direction the contestants were given. In the future, I really hope there's either more uniformity when it comes to sportswear, or that the outfits are way more unique, one way or the other. Then we also noticed though that they added capes onto all of these outfits, so just a little extra thing. If you're thinking about preparing for this pageant, I guess start practicing with a cape just in case you may need to use one. Here are my quick thoughts on everyone. Thailand, I thought that she needed to fully extend her legs, so straighten the knees a little bit before she steps down on each step, but she was very beautiful though. Belgium had a very confident entrance, but she did this sideways glitz walk, which to me makes more sense for Miss Grand International. I was surprised to see it here, although this pageant system is new for me. It's just something I didn't expect. Denmark overall, I just felt like she needed more posture. That would have been a huge note for me. Kenya was very confident, and she did this little pivot turn before hitting her pose, which was nice. And she changed up her facials, which is great, but I just thought she took a little too long on stage. Cuba, honestly, great performance. She had a nice walk, it was solid, and she had really great eye contact. Germany, for me, it was the arms that were distracting. I feel like they were uncoordinated with her leg pacing, and so that would have been my overall note, and it would have affected how I scored her. Honduras, beautiful face, did a great job. I just personally wish she had a little bit more energy. Great Britain for me was like a middle of the road performance. I thought that she had a good walk, but I do feel like her makeup needed a refresh. Like there was something about it, whether she just needed a little bit of powder or just a look that had more definition in her eyes. There was something there that I was like, I feel like the makeup should have been changed. India had great energy, great walk. I really liked her. She seemed like she was having a lot of fun on stage and she was very confident to me. Argentina was very beautiful. She had a great walk, a lot of great presence, but I do wish that she would have changed up the facial expressions. I feel like her performance needed that. Dominican Republic, very pretty, very fit. She had a nice little center pose as well. This was a great performance for me for this area of competition. I would have pushed her forward for sure. Cambodia was really pretty. She had a good performance here. I just wish she would have changed up the facials a little bit. Colombia, really pretty. I actually wish that she would have had a little bit more posture, which is a really surprising note for me for any Colombian candidate. France, honestly, good job. She had a nice entrance and she did well with the handling of the cape. I think that she had a good walk. I just wish that the facials would have been a little bit more engaging. I wanted more to feel more connection with her. China was bouncing too much for my personal preference. I think that her poses could have been a little bit more intentional as well. And really she needed to clean up the footwork more. Malaysia is very pretty, very confident. I thought though that she needed some more coordination when she was placing her arms for any of her poses. Switzerland, I do feel like she did really well overall and she just looked like she was having a good time. Vietnam, I think that the spin turn could have been a little cleaner, and this is my note for all contestants. Turns don't really help you in pageants unless they're executed very, very well, but they can hurt you in pageants if they're not done and they're not really perfected. And I do feel like overall she needed some more eye contact. Brazil, honestly, nice walk, nice turn. I did want to see different makeup for her, but I still liked her. Puerto Rico, great opening. Honestly, this is what I expected from her just because it's a very competitive country and there's just like this certain level of standard. It doesn't surprise me that she does well. It would surprise me if she didn't do well. Bolivia, I think that the walk needs more practice and she needed some more eye contact. Zimbabwe was really pretty and she had a nice walk. I just wish she would have held the last pose a little bit more. I think that could have helped. Philippines. So she had a really nice pivot and then she did a cape removal and nobody else did. She also waved. I really wouldn't suggest that you would wave, but this pageant is in its infancy, so there's certain things you're gonna be able to get away with, but it's not something that I would try to replicate in the future. Venezuela, okay, fantastic. Top performer here. Nice spin turn, confident, great walk. Just solid. Now the semifinalist group was chopped in half. And so we went down to a top 12 and we got to see them re-perform for evening gown. Zimbabwe really surprised me with her evening gown. I do wish she would have been in a full length gown instead of this short one. For me, when she walked on, I got initially confused because I was like, why is she wearing a cocktail dress? I do think overall though, the performance was okay. I felt that her smile could have been a little bit more sincere, a little bit more present and in the moment, and the walk down the steps needed practice. Ladies, when you practice walking down steps, make sure to only step on each stair once. So for example, if there's step 1, 2, and 3, your foot position should be right, left, right. It shouldn't be, you shouldn't be like right, left, right, left. And I do see that quite a bit with stairs. Stairs are tough. Gotta practice. Denmark, I was really surprised to see her in this pastel shade of green. It was really pretty, very unique shade. I thought it looked really great on her. The walk though for me was too bouncy for evening gown. I wanted a little bit more elegance, and her arms were kind of flailing about and they were distracting for me, so that would have affected my score for her. Cuba, honestly, solid performance. I do feel like she just got lost in the mix. She could have moved forward, but she had great eye contact, and just, I think what maybe didn't put her over the top is that there wasn't like a moment that she created. And I feel like when you have this like little moment that makes the audience go, ooh, wow. When you have that type of effect on people, you're almost inevitably moving forward. And I feel like that's what her performance was missing. Argentina, I feel like she could have moved on if she changed her facials because she is really beautiful. I didn't love the evening gown choice. And I wish she wouldn't have done the heart on stage because that's very grand for me. France, I have to say, was really, really beautiful on stage. The gown was elegant. It was very Miss France. She just looked lovely. It did feel like she was kind of a little tense though, like holding her breath. So I wish she would have just taken a moment just to breathe, live in the moment. Venezuela, this is interesting to me. So we're seeing Venezuela in this bright, bold yellow. The last time I saw a Venezuelan candidate wear this shade of yellow that I can remember would have been at Supranational the year La Layla won, which would have been 2022? 2021? 2021? I can't remember the exact year. But that's the last time I saw Venezuela, and Venezuela was in the top 5 then as well in a bright yellow color, which makes a lot of sense because it's one of the colors in their flag. So I understand why they choose that. But yeah, it's not as common of a color, but it tends to look really, really great on their representatives, and the gowns are always stunning. So I loved this gown on her, loved this performance. She took out one of the cameras though, and they had to edit that little part out. But aside from that, great job. She recovered well. Cambodia had a really unique gown presentation here because her gown had these additional sleeves with all of this waterfall fringe beading, which was really beautiful. I thought she did such a great job handling that, and I really liked this. She stood out to me. Brazil, to me, she had a great gown. She just didn't seem very sure of herself in this performance, and I did feel like she was holding quite a bit of tension in her neck. And it's really important, ladies, that we're on stage, we can use our neck. We can relax, we can have movement in our head. Great Britain had a nice gown. I do feel like though she should have changed up the facials for a gown, just subtle little changes. Dominican Republic, she looked beautiful. I love the gown, I love the styling. What I didn't love were the arms and how they were moving with the cape. I just don't think it's necessary, and it draws attention to the arms rather than to the face. But other than that, she was still one of my favorites, and I can understand why she moved on. Puerto Rico, she did a great job. Honestly, could have been moving on to a top 5. I could have seen that for her. I think she had a really solid opening pose, but I think the issue is that she spent so much time in the back of the stage and didn't get a lot of that time up front with the judges. And my advice for contestants is, if you're gonna have something that you really wanna feature in your routine, make sure the meat of your routine is as close to the judges as possible. Don't save that for the backstage because it's harder for them to connect with you and to make eye contact with you. Philippines, great job. She had nice poses, beautiful facial transitions. The thing that stood out to me the most was how easy it was for her to walk down those stairs. She was gliding right down them, and it was lovely. Now for the top 5, it was a really simple format. Each of the contestants had 45 seconds to share what universal woman means to them. So here were our top 5 and here were their responses. France, who by the way looked just stunning on camera, said, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to be the universal woman to prove that I'm beautiful. I wish to use the title to transform the life of people. My aim isn't just for my own voice to be heard. My aim is to forward the message of those who cannot be heard and to draw to the public their intentions. It's not always necessary to develop plans for this. Many little things can change the lives of people if they're done with authenticity and love." It took me a couple times to replay this segment because of her accent. I had trouble hearing her message, and that's so unfortunate because when I read it back, I think it's a really nice answer. And she did state this very confidently, but if the judges had difficulty hearing what she was saying, I feel like that could have affected her score, unfortunately. But she still did a really great job. My note for her here though, which is kind of my overall note for the contestants this year, is when I think of how these answers could be improved, I feel like focusing on the specifics would be very powerful. She talked about transforming people's lives, and my immediate question is, what people and transform their lives how? Or what is your plan for doing so? I would love to just have a deeper dive on that, because these types of answers that are generic when contestants go on stage and they just say, I want to be a leader, I want to be a role model, I want to be the positive change in the world. Great, I love that, I love that. But it's so generic and anyone could say it. So I want to know, like, what are you specifically bringing to a title that nobody else is? Cambodia said, to me, Universal Woman represents all of the hard work of the women worldwide, past and present. Women are brave, women are powerful, and we're fearless. We're caring, we're nurturers. Women are everything. I'm standing here as an example myself. I'm a Khmer dancer, I'm a daughter, and most of all, I'm a believer. Women, please remember, if you believe, you can do anything, because we are women. Now, honestly, this was pretty good. It's a pretty good answer. She's pretty confident. She's empowering. She's sharing a great message. She has a lot of common denominators here for winning answers, and it made a lot of sense. But I will say that although she had the content, I think, in the phrasing, of course, we could get more specific, as I just said. She could have either gone that route, or she could have said something that would have pulled at my heartstrings a little bit more. And I feel like that could have affected placement. Dominican Republic, she said, Universal Woman is an organization that I noticed has a lot of missions to accomplish. And I love everything that you guys are doing. The reason why I joined Universal Woman is because I'm a domestic abuse survivor. And I believe that women, I can be an advocate and I can be a voice for those women who have been shut down. And I can help them to be empowered and be brave and bold and beautiful again. Women are beautiful, we can do it together. And then she kind of got a little flustered, paused for a second, and then said, thank you, to quickly wrap up her answer. This is something I see a lot in pageants. I think it's important, ladies, that we start strong and we finish strong. So just as much as you have that strong opening, you have to have a plan for how am I gonna wrap things up, and that plan starts in practice. And I actually have another episode where I go into detail about how you can actually practice this. There is a specific strategy. I would encourage you to watch it. When I read back the answer, I think that she said a lot of great things. She shared about her personal experience. She talked about the women that she wants to help. I love that. But I do feel like she was kind of going through the motions with her delivery of it. I didn't feel a sense of passion when she spoke, that she had true connection to those words. And I felt like that was something that was lacking that affected placement. Venezuela first greeted everyone, and then she said, I want to be a universal woman because I want to utilize this platform to go ahead, to go beyond frontiers, to unite countries, organizations, and people. I want to use this platform and my voice to help many without limitations. I want to utilize my image, my title, and my voice to work with organizations that want to support people that need the help. And of course, use my voice to help all people that need it. All of the people that cannot speak up for themselves, to be an agent of change. So a lot of great things being said here. Once again though, my specifics, I thought she was so confident when she spoke. I love that, but I want to know who specifically are you helping? What is your specific message? What's the work that you plan to do? And maybe what's some of the work that you've already done? Philippines. First of all, the thing that struck me about her was her voice. Natural talent here. Her speaking voice was just beautiful. It was lovely. If she's not already a host, she should be one. That is a gift. She said, for me, Universal Woman means the future. I learned in working with this organization that I want to live in a world that is filled with respect and collaboration, one that encourages us to step into our differences instead of ignoring them, and learn to harness them in order to affect positive social change. I want to be in this organization because I feel that I am not alone. I am one in an army of women who are ready and willing to make a difference to support a world that is not only sustainable, but that stands for economic progress and positive inclusion social impact. If you are here tonight, welcome to the new era of beauty. I felt like she just wrote the opening for next year's show. Welcome to the new era of beauty. That needs to be in a script somewhere for a pageant. And she sounded beautiful doing it. When we look and listen to everyone's final answer for this pageant, I feel like what it came down to was mainly the delivery, because the content, if you listen to it, In many of these answers, with the exclusion, I would say, of Dominican Republic, she was the one that shared a little bit more about herself in comparison to the other questions. When we look at the overall messaging, essentially what you're comparing now at this point, if I was on this panel, what I'm comparing, because of what they've given me, is the delivery, the presentation. And when we take that into consideration, you'll have to see it for yourself. I feel like you'll understand the placements. With that being said, the fourth runner-up was Dominican Republic. The third runner-up was Cambodia. Second runner-up was France. Venezuela was first runner-up, and Philippines won. So congratulations to Philippines. Just keep solidifying yourself as a pageant powerhouse. Oh my gosh, one crown is not enough. You have to win every pageant. I know that there's records for who has the most crowns at Miss Universe, for example, or at Miss World, but I'm curious collectively, who has the most international titles for any pageant system? Any pageant system. Well, let's not say any. Let's say any Miss division. How's that? Very curious. But anyways, well done. Honestly, this was a really nice show. I feel like the production was beautiful. I do feel like they could add entertainers into it. That would be fun instead of so many sponsor commercials, but maybe the sponsors were really making the show happen and that was the agreement, that that's how much screen time that they would get. So that would make sense. Overall though, I think they did a fantastic job with this show. I think it's great. I think it's something that if you're looking for a new organization, check it out for yourself. See if it's something that you're interested in competing for. I enjoyed watching it and I hope that you enjoyed the recap. Thank you so much for joining. Please check out these other recent episodes and don't forget to come back for more in the future. And if there's anything that you want to see on the channel, leave those requests in the comments. I appreciate it.